this Monday meeting because we're trying to jumpstart the water ordinance. With a little luck, perhaps we can get it on the ballot for June. Nobody's had a chance to read this, I don't believe. I know I haven't.
I came in this afternoon, but I didn't have time.
Right, I haven't.
Jim read it and pointed out all the errors in it.
Only a couple.
Essentially, I mean, it certainly takes some time to read, but essentially, as the cover memo says, what I did was take the Denmark Regulatory Ordinance,
Yep.
which you've all seen. I removed from it the impact fees because public water is supplied not by a town in this here, but by KK&W, and so the town collecting impact fees for what it essentially is a private company probably isn't going to work, and also because the selectmen haven't shown that they want to do impact fees anyway. So I took that language out rather than try to work around it. And then everywhere where in Denmark the decision was going to be made by the Board of Selectmen, actually everywhere but one because I missed one, I inserted the Planning Board for the town of Wells.
Why don't we take this one article at a time, one step at a time, and we can comment and edit as we go. Okay, guys? Okay. Article 1, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to protect the quality and quantity of groundwater, spring water, and/or water in aquifers and their recharge areas located wholly or partially within the town of Wells.
If one of the goals is to get something that the town can vote on in June, probably you don't want to spend a lot of time tweaking this.
It's a drop-dead date for getting this to the selectmen.
Well, I guess I'd leave that to, I think it's April 24th or 25th.
It's actually the 24th, but the last regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen is the 21st, and you'd have to have a vote of the selectmen to meet after that in order to be after next Tuesday.
So that's a week from tomorrow is the last
Regularly scheduled meeting. You're talking about pumping pond water that's not fed by an aquifer or a spring, just accumulated pond water, which would be largely covered under DEP and other regulations. You're close to a vernal pool or something to that effect, you're not going to pump water from it in the first place.
Well, I've got ponds on the farm.
They're spring fed.
Oh. Well, but they wouldn't be considered spring water.
Well, do we want to just cover ground? I guess this is a good question. Do we want to just cover groundwater, or do we want to cover all water? Because I can write it either way.
I'm happy just covering groundwater. We're just pointing it out.
No, I understand, but I think it's a good point, and rather than raise it each time, I mean, let's get the sense of what the board wants, and then we can, because there may be other places where that same definition would.
I'm trying to think of circumstances under which drawing on surface water would create an adverse impact on wells or aquifers, which seems to be people's primary concern. And
If the surface water is not on an aquifer, it wouldn't.
right.
And again, there's regulations about just pumping out of a pond or something.
There's the, water rights that surface water rights are already covered under state law.
Yeah.
So I almost think we can limit our discussion to
groundwater.
Okay.
Groundwater.
Okay.
So.
Makes it easier for me.
Yep. Water bodies or surface water means lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, wetlands, and similar.
That doesn't tie in with the other ones we just did, so why is that in here?
I'm sure it's referred to later. Article 4, large-scale water extraction. Permit required. The daily, meaning on any given day, extraction of more than 5,000 gallons of groundwater, spring water, and/or water from aquifers or their recharge areas by any one entity or person or consortium or association of entities or persons acting in concert. The application shall be in writing and be accompanied by site plans, plural? Okay, whatever,
Generally, you have more than one page, so.
Oh, okay. Prepared by a licensed surveyor, licensed engineer, or similar appropriately licensed professional.
What would be the point of including anyone who is outside the aquifer? To me, that seems unnecessary. If they're outside the aquifer, they aren't going to be impacted by definition. It seems like, if you're talking about 500 feet within from the boundaries of a large aquifer, that could encompass dozens, if not hundreds, of people that don't need to be involved because they aren't impacted.
Well, there is a section a little later on here that says the applicant can ask the planning board to waive the notification to people who have those parcels if they can demonstrate that they would have no effect.
Cross or merge with state highway, town roads, or public easements, a detailed disclosure of the traffic routes to be employed, the types of vehicles to be used, the loaded weight of the vehicles to be used, and the number of daily vehicle trips, both arrivals and departures, at any loadout station shall be included on the 4. Driveways or access roads on the extraction facilities shall conform to standards set out in the Wells Code and the Highway Commissioner.
And by the highway.
And by the Highway Commissioner. The Town of Wells may enact impact fees payable by the applicant to upgrade and/or improve the roads and roadways of the Town of Wells that will be primarily used by and/or affected by the water extraction and transportation thereof. The entire application, including studies, reports, site plans, and all other items referred to above, shall be submitted to the Planning Board in the same manner as any site plan application and with the same number of copies. The Planning Board?
Planning board, yeah.
The Planning Board shall act on such application in the same manner and with the same time limitation as with any site plan application as denoted in Chapter 145 or something like that. 2. The Planning Board may approve the application, deny the application, or to approve the application conditionally with conditions or stipulations upon the satisfactory completion of which the application will be finally approved. I think from all that, what I understand is our guy monitoring the wells out there says, you drop below here, we're going to start watching you real close. You drop below here, you got to stop.
That's correct.
Okay.
And those levels, or whatever standards are used, whether they're levels or wells or whatever, will be specified as a condition in the permit if a permit is issued.
So there's the thing where we're limiting them to a 3-year period, not 157 years or anything like that, right?
Right.
7. Enforcement and severability. This ordinance may be enforced by the municipal officers of the Town of Wells or at their direction. By that I guess we mean the Board of Selectmen? What do we mean by that?
Yes. Municipal officers are, well,
Okay.
are you guys going to be a selectman or council?
Still a
Okay.
selectman.
But you'll be the municipal officers.
Okay. Because isn't it the Board of Selectmen who are...
You're correct. That should go to court.
That has to go to court. We can't hear appeals from the people who appointed us. So that would be Superior Court, Mike?
Yes.
Any permit granted hereunder would not be subject to arbitration under, I think it was Article 11 of NAFTA or any similar trade agreement. As if the U.S. Senate isn't going to protect us, well, we need to protect ourselves.
Okay.
I will ask the question.
I think that's worth putting in there, even if she thinks it might not hold up.
In the appropriate
And we can break
section.
some new ground one way or another.
Yeah, why not? Everybody else okay with that?
Absolutely.
We got a little behind on the water ordinance, trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And it's looking like we might just be able to get this on the June ballot, which is what the folks want. I mean, we want a water ordinance. We got the 6-month moratorium enacted, November?
But
So-
what I'm saying is that give the public time to respond, only because we're not sticking with our normal schedule. Well, normally, when we've had something to do with water, it's packed house. And of course, we've got an unusual meeting tonight, so we don't have anyone here to speak of. And then we're going to have another one Wednesday, and
Right.
we're looking at adopting a draft of an ordinance. Who's going to have a chance to have seen it?
There